today. So I have Nicole with us, who is an ambitious and outgoing person who enjoys getting things done while building relationships, which is something that a lot of people struggle at. So Nicole specifically focuses on creating a people-centric organization, making sure that people can come together in a collaborative manner to make sure that they can work more efficiently, more productively while ensuring that the best results are produced at the end of the day. Let's welcome Nicole on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, where she will tell us about her experience as a recruiter. And hats off to Nicole, because as I read and did my research on her, I found out that she has helped companies smooth their hiring processes, making the process much easier for candidates, which is something that's very considerate. So let's welcome Nicole. Hi, Nicole. How are you doing?
Hi, Minna. I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, Nicole. So, Nicole, can you tell us where you're currently working, what your company does, and what your role is within the company?
Yeah, so I work at ChargeBee. We are a fintech company, and we work in the subscription space. We are growing a ton here. We're a very, very cool organization, and we're hiring a lot. So here in the US, we've over doubled our employee size since September. We're hiring in all areas, marketing, sales, product, and it's a really cool time to be part of a company like this.
Okay, well, that sounds absolutely amazing. And Nicole, just curious, you, as in like from what I read on you and everything, you helped in making the process much more seamless, much more efficient. Can you maybe specify what caused you to actually work on the hiring process? Because there are a lot of gaps that exist within the market, but a lot of people don't cater to it. So why did you realize that there had to be a change that needed to be made?
Yeah, I think making the hiring process more efficient is better for everyone all around, for your hiring managers, for your candidates. And I actually came to this job because I was part of a COVID layoff in 2020. I know how challenging it is. I know how frustrating it is putting in your application and not hearing back. And at the end of the day, most hiring managers, all they want to do is bring on a good candidate, but they want to give a great experience. So all you have to really do is prioritize the two and really help hiring managers figure out all the steps that they need, taking some of those steps out that they may not need, but they don't know. So it's really a partnership.
Okay, I'm sorry about hearing your layout, but considering you're working with such a fantastic company, I'm glad things worked out for you because you seem to be doing absolutely amazing, which is something that I'm glad to hear about. So thank you for sharing that, Nicole. And Nicole, I'd love to hear regarding so were some of the steps that you removed from the hiring process specifically, just because you realized that okay, this is just a waste of time on both sides. How did you make sure that was much more efficient then?
Yeah, so I think what happens a lot, and there's a lot of good intent, but a lot of people want to meet with this candidate. I think it's very overwhelming for the candidate, and it's also, if you have 100 people interviewing somebody, obviously somebody's going to find a fault somewhere. So I think one of the big things you do is you really look at who is interviewing. Is it a priority that this person interviews? How do they interact with this new person in the role? And then I think that you give every group different areas to focus on so that the candidate, every time that they talk to someone new, doesn't hear, tell me about yourself, tell me about yourself. So I think that's a way that you can make it pretty seamless. And I think something else that's extremely important is being very organized and just making sure you stay in contact with these people. Even if you don't move them forward, sending a rejection email or calling them to let them know why they're not moving forward is very, very important. There's so many things that are happening at one time. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people let things fall through the cracks because they're not very organized or they don't know exactly who's sitting at what stage. So I think if you can create a process that really helps you understand where candidates are at, it makes it much easier to stay in contact with them.
That makes sense because I remember I used to apply for jobs, and 6 months later, I used to get an email being like, "You've been rejected." And I used to be like, "Oh, I applied here. What just happened?" So I can
Yes.
definitely see why that is very important and how organization can actually help in catering to that specifically. So definitely. So Nicole, were you always a people's person? Why were you specifically attracted to talent acquisition and making sure that you wanted to be a part of such a different process? Like, what got you into this?
Yeah, I do love people, but honestly, I really love processes. I like to be productive and I like to be efficient. But what I think makes recruiting so great is you get to build a relationship with candidates. But I think the best part is building a relationship with your internal partners because you really get to solve a problem. Every single hire, you're solving a different problem. So if you understand that manager, their team, what are they focused on? You can really get them the best piece to the puzzle that they need to kind of finish out their puzzle. I love people though. I think that at the heart and core of every business or something that functions is people, right? And so being able to bring people into an organization genuinely, I think, is an honor, and I'm very lucky that I get to do it. You can sway the company in a very good direction or a very bad direction, depending on the people that you bring in.
That's very true. You seem very passionate about your role, and your company must be really happy to have you, or lucky to have you, to be fair. So that sounds wonderful. And Nicole, because you've been in the talent acquisition space for a while, I'm curious to hear what are some of the top mistakes that job candidates make when they're applying for jobs that lessen their chances of getting that
I
dream job?
love this question. Okay, so a couple things. The first thing is, this is so cliche, but recruiters really only have a couple seconds to look at your resume. So the more organized you can make that with bullet points, specific things that you've done, especially if you can put numbers in there, that will always catch somebody's eye. I think that's a huge thing that people miss on their resumes. The other thing is you have to figure out what makes you special. There is something that you're really good at, and maybe that is connecting with people. Maybe that is you're really good at, you're organized, or you're good at numbers, you're data driven, whatever it is. You have to know that, and you have to own it, because uh, companies are always interviewing more than one person, right? If you're going against 6 other people, you guys probably have a similar background. So what is it that makes you special, and own that in the interview? I think that makes people go so far. And then really your resume, all it is a piece of a small glimpse into you. And that's hopefully what's going to get you an interview. But after that, it's all about you, the examples that you can give, the kind of person that you are, the energy that you bring. All of those things will come off in your interview and not on your resume.
Okay, and you mentioned specifically that, for example, you have to make sure you have to understand what makes you special. How do you get and how do you understand that? Because I think that takes a lot of self-awareness, but how do you get to that level of self-awareness where you can actually showcase your strengths and weaknesses in a very particular manner, which makes you special?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, it's so hard early in your career because you're figuring out, what are you even good at? What do I like to do? I don't know. Nobody knows. So I think finding a few mentors that you really trust and you can have a relationship with, that you can honestly come to them and say, I'm struggling with this, or I approached this situation poorly. How can I fix it? Those are also the people that will be able to say, you're really good at X, Y, and Z, and you'll be able to run with that. And I always would say, more than one mentor, at least if you can have 3 or more, you're getting so many different perspectives.
Okay, and who was your mentor, Nicole?
I have 2, Omar and Amber, are directors that I have both worked under, and they are incredible leaders. They really know what they're doing in this space, but they're also really good at investing in their people.
Okay, well, Omar and Amber, you just got a shout out from Nicole. So if you're hearing this, she is very lucky to have you. And I'm pretty sure you guys must be really lucky to have her because I can feel the sense of positivity from Nicole. So it's absolutely lovely speaking to her. Well, Nicole, we like to keep things short. Our time is up. It was an absolute pleasure having you as a guest. And I hope your company continues to grow because with people like you, I'm pretty sure it will grow and it will do great.
You are wonderful. Thank you so much.